going to get to Caitlin Clark fans and the nuclear backlash that A'ja Wilson is getting right now over the the reveal of her Nike signature shoe from earlier today.
A'ja Wilson just got hit with a brutal reality check that could define her entire career. After 2 years of zeroing in on Caitlin Clark, the player she thought she had outmatched, Team USA delivered the ultimate slap in the face. Wilson was dropped from the national team roster, while Clark was officially handed a starting spot in the senior national pool for the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics. What went wrong? We've got the full breakdown of Wilson's epic meltdown and the one fatal flaw in her game that the WNBA establishment never told you about. The real question now, did Wilson deserve to be kicked off Team USA? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
If you're taken aback by that, if you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't compute. What about all of the A'ja Wilson Nike outrage last year that subjected not only Caitlin Clark, but her fans to all kinds of racial hate?
It's hard to imagine being one of the greatest players in the WNBA, a true face of the league, only to have your most prestigious opportunity ripped away. But that's exactly what happened to A'ja Wilson. The player who believed her name was synonymous with women's basketball just received a very public and painfully clear lesson: reputation is not a contract. Team USA's decision to cut Wilson and place Caitlin Clark in the national pool wasn't about stats alone. It was a cold, calculated assessment of which player's game actually translates to high-stakes global competition. The outcome is a stark reminder of what happens when skill is traded for spectacle and character is replaced by chaos.
Great pass by Chelsea Gray into A'ja Wilson. Foul gets called.
The biggest secret in the WNBA, the one the old guard conveniently ignores, is the fatal flaw in Wilson's game. She runs on whistles, not pure skill. Consider her free throw numbers, nearly 12 attempts per game. That's not a sign of an unstoppable force. It's a sign of a player who has perfected the art of selling contact to referees. Every drive to the basket features an exaggerated flail. Every defensive contest turns into a dramatic appeal for a foul. For years, WNBA officials have shielded offensive players like Wilson, allowing her to thrive as an offensive powerhouse fueled by favorable calls. It's a brilliant strategy within the league, but it becomes a crippling liability on the international stage.
It looked like they really were intentional about going to Aaliyah in the second half. What was, I guess, difficult about containing her? I know you guys kind of touched on a few things, maybe with the foul calls, but what made it successful for them to keep going to her tonight?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask Aaliyah that question. I honestly, you just do your work. You got to do your work early and make it different. But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle, and she shot 13 today.
She said that to you?
Yeah, she said it last game I had a special whistle, which is cool. So we just got to play their better defense, make her look a little difficult, and kind of go from there.
All right, thank you all.
Yeah.
Team USA coaches and scouts weren't watching Wilson's WNBA highlight reels. They were watching her in international exhibitions. And what they saw left them horrified. FIBA referees don't care about MVP trophies. They allow a level of physicality that would send Wilson to the free throw line a dozen times in an aces matchup, but on the international stage, the same plays are just basketball. The flowing, physical style of international competition ruthlessly exposes any player who relies on officials to create their offense. For A'ja Wilson, that dependence has become a glaring vulnerability, one the global game won't forgive.
A'ja Wilson. Lots of folks are talking about A'ja Wilson. You know, the player on the team where people are abandoning like rats off a sinking ship. You know, A'ja Wilson, who has won 2 championships in the WNBA. A'ja Wilson, who was crowned MVP before the 2024 season started. A'ja Wilson, you know, she's a really good basketball player. But back to culture. I wouldn't want A'ja Wilson on my team, or maybe I should turn it around. Since she's A'ja Wilson, I wouldn't want to be on A'ja Wilson.
And that brings us to the stark contrast with Caitlin Clark. Clark operates on a completely different plane. She's pulling up from 30 feet, draining shots no referee can take away. When defenders make contact, she finishes through it, rarely looking for a whistle. Her step-back threes and deep-range bombs are pure, self-reliant offense, a skill set that translates perfectly anywhere in the world, no matter who's officiating. Team USA scouts watched Wilson's scoring efficiency crater during international play when officials allowed real physical defense. Her production dropped dramatically because the marginal calls she had grown to rely on simply vanished. Meanwhile, Clark's numbers remained rock solid. Why? Because her game is built on separation, basketball IQ, and footwork, not on initiating contact to draw a foul. The difference isn't subtle, it's glaring. Wilson prays for whistles. Clark anticipates contact and adjusts to score anyway. Wilson's method dominates the WNBA, a league with controlled, offense-friendly officiating. Clark's method dominates everywhere because it's built on fundamentals, not loopholes. International basketball demands adaptability, fewer interruptions, more physicality, and Wilson's foul-baiting style becomes a liability. Coaches need players who can adjust, not rely on officiating to generate offense. The choice for Team USA was clear. One player requires specific conditions to succeed. The other creates her own success anywhere. So how did the former face of the league react to being cut? Explosively. Wilson expected another month of trophies and praise. Instead, she was absent from Team USA's preliminary roster for the upcoming evaluation camps. Sources describe her reaction as an epic emotional meltdown lasting several days. The irony was delicious. She had spent 2 years undermining Clark, only to be replaced by the very player she tried to diminish. Clark, on the other hand, received her invitation with grace and humility, expressing gratitude and excitement to learn from the veterans. Wilson went into panic mode, making desperate calls, trying to schedule last-minute meetings with staff already focused on players who made the cut. Meanwhile, Clark received congratulations from teammates, coaches, and fans. The contrast couldn't have been starker. Clark stayed composed. Wilson spun excuses about scheduling conflicts and prior commitments that nobody bought. The truth is, Team USA had been watching Wilson all along. Every passive-aggressive comment, every cryptic social media post, every interview shot against Clark was noted. Her constant attacks on the league's rising star revealed a toxic attitude that destroys locker rooms and team unity. Clark's response, staying focused on her game and ignoring negativity, only strengthened her case for inclusion. Team USA sent a clear message: toxic behavior has consequences. They chose professionalism over pettiness, team builders over team destroyers. Wilson's meltdown confirmed the decision. A player who cannot handle not being selected cannot withstand the global pressure of representing her country. Clark earned her spot through pure talent and character. Wilson lost hers to jealousy and poor judgment. Wilson had felt untouchable since 2024, armed with MVP awards, rings, and the media's anointed title as the face of women's basketball. Every passive-aggressive post and thinly veiled attack on Clark felt justified. But USA basketball officials observed it all, coldly, professionally. They noted how Wilson met Clark's rise with skepticism instead of celebration, and when Clark received Time magazine's Athlete of the Year award, the contrast in their character couldn't have been clearer. Wilson's saga is a masterclass in why skill, adaptability, and character matter more than reputation or ego. Clark proved she belongs on the world stage. Wilson learned the hard way that the spotlight doesn't guarantee immunity, it demands accountability. Team USA sent a clear message: toxic behavior has consequences. They chose professionalism over pettiness, team builders over team destroyers. Wilson's meltdown confirmed the decision. A player who cannot handle not being selected cannot withstand the global pressure of representing her country. Clark earned her spot through pure talent and character. Wilson lost hers to jealousy and poor judgment. Wilson had felt untouchable since 2024, armed with MVP awards, rings, and the media's anointed title as the face of women's basketball. Every passive-aggressive post and thinly veiled attack on Clark felt justified. But USA basketball officials observed it all, coldly, professionally. They noted how Wilson met Clark's rise with skepticism instead of celebration, And when Clark received Time magazine's Athlete of the Year award, the contrast in their character couldn't have been clearer. Wilson's saga is a masterclass in why skill, adaptability, and character matter more than reputation or ego. Clark proved she belongs on the world stage. Wilson learned the hard way that the spotlight doesn't guarantee immunity, it demands accountability.